Hello and Namaste. Welcome to the online workshop on Divine Breath. We are on chapter 8 and in this chapter we will learn about the Shankha-Chakra Technique. You might be surprised with some of the names that we talk about, but we will learn it in a while. Just hold on to the name called Shankha-Chakra Technique. Here we have a trinity of gods which we have already talked before, and they are Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. Brahma is for creation and Shiva is for destruction. This brings us to the middle god of the Trinity, Lord Vishnu. He is responsible for growth and for prosperity because he handles maintenance. And to maintain something, you also need for it to prosper and to grow. Now we are a modern people living in this time where we are a lot concerned about our growth, our prosperity, our abundance, and hence we see that a lot of people worship Lord Vishnu because he symbolizes that, he is for that. Now when we come to Hinduism, we embody a god in a form. We give him a face, we give that god some attributes, and we give them a lot of stories. Because in Hinduism it's believed that creating a god which is human-like so that you can associate with that god very easily. And the stories are given so that it uses the multiple intelligence. When you tell something in a story, it's better remembered. I am not for any religion, I'm not against any religion. But I like to decipher something. When I hear about a god, I hear about his attributes, I like to know how we can use that in our daily life. When we see Lord Vishnu, he basically has 4 arms. In the first 2 or the primary arms, he holds one shankha or a conch and a chakra or a discus. Those are the 2 primary tools that he has. So let us decipher them and see what is this shankha and chakra. Shankha is a conch. Now what is it about the conch that makes it so special? We have initially seen that it relates to breath. We talked about the war and how breath is used to determine who will win a war and things like that. So conch is used for breath, the prana, and how it passes through that. Now an interesting thing about conch we will learn in just a moment. Right? Another thing is the discus. Now discus has a chakra. Right. If you see Krishna, he has a wheel on his hand which is to destroy evil. This discus that he has in his hand is the 3 dimension of our wellness because it's got 3 layers. So we can see it as the physical, mental and emotional balance in our lives. If we go further, then we talk about these tools. When we talk about gods, we have Shiva holding a trishul or like Vishnu holding Shankha and Chakra. So what are these tools? Have you ever paid attention on why tools? Well, we should know more than anybody else because we are living in a world full of tools. We are dependent on tools for everything. Our car is a tool. A pen is a tool. A mobile is a tool. A computer is a tool. Everything that makes your life a little bit easier is a tool. Let me give you an example that I give a lot many times. Initially days, if people used to make this chutney or a paste, they used to use a mortar and a pestle. Mortar and pestle, so they used to grind it to make a fine paste. Nowadays, what do? We use a mixie, a blender to do it. And to do that, what do? It makes it easier and faster to do the same task that used to take about 15 or 20 minutes. In the same way, if we use tools, they give us something what we call leverage in science. Leverage means getting to do a little more task than the effort used. If you're using a door to actually lift the door and put it on its place every time that you need to open and close a room is difficult. So then what do we use for it? We use something called a hinge. And that's a tool. It's a hinge, it's a leverage. So that you can easily open and close a door. In the same way, these are the tools given to gods. So when we understand these tools and when we use these tools, it makes our life easier. Let us go further and see, because I told you we're going to see about conch in a little while. Conch, when you slice it open, when you cut it open and you see, it's a beautiful thing that you see inside. It is in a very special way, it goes out. From inside it goes to a larger area. Now that area is important. We see that area or that the pattern in which it goes, if we see it in nature in abundance. Now that thing is called a golden ratio. I would personally call it a divine ratio, because it is in everything that is there in nature. Everything in nature that grows follows that pattern. Have you seen something, a sunflower for example? When you see a sunflower, notice those seeds inside it. You should count those seeds once and see. Those follow a pattern going outwards. That pattern of going outwards is called the golden ratio. We will learn about this golden ratio in something called a Fibonacci sequence. I'll talk to you in just a minute. But we also see this ratio in flowers. We see it even in waves. Once the wave is formed, it is in that golden ratio. If we see hurricanes or storms or tornadoes, same golden ratio. This golden ratio is seen in abundance in nature, but why do we call it a golden ratio? And what is so unique about it? So let's just learn about what this is, because this is something which when I learned, it changed my life. And I'm sure once you know about this golden ratio, it's going to change your life and your perception forever. This golden ratio is a sequence of numbers which are called the Fibonacci sequence, because obviously it's named after this mathematician who goes by the name Fibonacci. He first noticed this sequence in nature and he showed us what this pattern is. I'm not a math person, I'm a science person, right? So I'm going to tell you in a very simple way how we are going to understand this Fibonacci sequence. So do one thing. When we start with a number sequence, let us start with 0. When you add 0 plus 1, it gives you 1. Now take these, the sum, the addition, the last digit and the 1. So what you do is 1 plus 1 will make it 2. Let us take it further. Then that 2 plus 1 makes it 3. Then 3 plus 2 makes it 5. We keep on going further and the numbers we get will be 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and we could go on and on and on with these numbers. Also very interestingly, if we take 0 and go in the minus, right? This is one far part, I would say, addition of the numbers. But when you go towards the negative numbers, the ma numbers, the sequence is even followed there. This was a very unique sequence found by Fibonacci. Now what is special about this sequence? When you go further, say you get into until 21. Okay. Now if you divide 21 by the previous number, which is 13. Once you do that, you would get a special number which is 1.6. And 1.6 is called as 5. Now this is the golden ratio. This is the golden number. Why? When you see in nature, I talked about how a conch develops, right? It started with a point and when it increases, when it grows, it follows these ratios 1.6, again 1.6, 1.6, and it expands in that way. It grows in that way. Let us look more nearer to body. That's my favorite topic. Okay, now do one thing is measure your arm from shoulder until the tip of your finger. So that is one part. Now if you divide that with this part, meaning from shoulder to your elbow, you will get a number is 1.6. Again go further. I'm going to take this part, meaning my forearm, from the elbow to the wrist. From elbow to the wrist, then from wrist to the tip of the finger. Divide it 1.6. Go further. Take one part of your finger here. Take the whole finger. Divide it 1.6. You can keep doing this all day long and you will get this number 1.6, 1.6. Stand, measure your height. Now measure your top of the head to the belly button. You get one measurement. Then from belly button to your feet, you get another measurement. Divide both, you will get 1.6. This was first noted by Leonardo da Vinci. And he is the one who gave this name golden ratio to this ratio because it's been followed everywhere. When a child is born, the fetus that is formed from a single cell and then the fetus grows, it is the ratio follows is golden ratio. When we go further, it is not only that, it's the distance between your pupils, measure it with the measurement of your eye, 1.6. You're listening to me right now, right? So I'm creating these sound waves. These sound waves get into your system using an apparatus called ear. If you see your ear, and when you see how it is formed, it is formed in a ratio of the golden ratio. Amazing, isn't it? It's just everywhere. It's in the cosmos. When the Big Bang happened and our Milky Way was formed, it started from a center and it expanded in a spiral. Now that expansion happened in golden ratio. So everywhere we see it. Not only this, the ancient people knew about it. So the ancient Greek architecture, Indian architecture, all have followed. The Egyptians, when you see those boxes that they have made, they follow the golden ratio. The Greek pantheon is following the golden ratio. Now these things have already doing it, and they have been successful in making, the Greeks have made their auditoriums in this following the golden ratio, so because those times there were no mics. So to amplify the voice, to reach them perfectly, to get that sound effect, they used the golden ratio to create their amphitheaters. When we go towards music, you see a piano, the black keys and the white keys. The ratio of that, 1.6. There are many other instruments like the guitar is made from the golden ratio. When you keep following that, you also would come across arts and paintings, especially those by Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. They are following the exact golden ratio to create that beauty. Because when we see something following a golden ratio, we perceive it as being beautiful. If you see, I would say, find out an actress that you love and find a good picture of her. If you're a girl, find out your favorite actor or a model and take his picture. And measure their distance between the ear and the cheek. All these measurements will follow the ratio of 1.6. If it uses the golden ratio, if it inherently has the golden ratio, it will be beautiful. Because that is for growth. So when I learned it first, I used to see it everywhere. I found out that the credit card uses the golden ratio. And not only that, if you see a logo, I would say, this is a very popular logo here, right? An apple. So when you measure this, it has been designed based on the golden ratio. You've been using Twitter, isn't it? You see that little birdie, it's been designed using the golden ratio. So when you design something using the golden ratio, it has a more success rate, a more result-oriented rate. Even plastic surgeons use that. When you go to a doctor to get your eyebrows fixed or your nose fixed or something, they have a caliper which they use, which uses the golden ratio. And then when they use the golden ratio, they will make a perfect measurement on where the arc should be, so that your eyebrow or your nose looks better and more appealing. Now this golden ratio is also seen in the conch. We're talking about Lord Vishnu, right, and his tools. So the Shankha is the golden ratio. He is telling us to use it. And use it where? The other tool, which is the three-dimensional wellness. So when you use the golden ratio for your three-dimensional wellness is when you achieve abundance, when you achieve prosperity, growth and success. Now, how do we do it is the question. If we're talking about breath, and if breath is giving us everything, then let us divide this breath and make it in such a way that it also follows the golden ratio. The amount that you breathe in and breathe out should follow the golden ratio. And when we divide it in such a way that it follows the golden ratio and also on the three levels, meaning a breath that is designed only for your physical well-being, a breath that is designed for your emotional well-being, a breath that is designed for your mental well-being. When you use a specific mathematical scientific way of breathing using a golden ratio is when you achieve success, abundance, prosperity and everything that you wish for. So in the next chapter, we're going to learn how we use that. Thank you.